This land is my land. No, it is not. When the French explorer Robert La Salle reached the mouth of the Mississippi River in April of 1682, he claimed the entire Mississippi River Valley and all of its tributaries, smaller streams or rivers that flow into it, for France. The Ohio River is one of the tributaries of the Mississippi River. This is why France felt they had a right to lay claim to the land in the Ohio River Valley as being part of New France. They began to build forts and defend this region. England also laid claim to the Ohio River Valley. They asked George Washington to deliver a letter to the French telling them that the valley was property of the Crown of Great Britain. It demanded they leave the region. Needless to say, the French rejected their letter and refused to leave. In March of 1754, Washington returned to the area with about 150 soldiers. He was supposed to build a fort where the Monongahela and Allegheny rivers met the Ohio River. When he got there, he realized the French had beat him to the punch. The French and Indian War, or the 7 Years' War. When Washington returned with his men to the Ohio River Valley, he found that the French were already in the process of building Fort Duquesne. His men promptly attacked and defeated some of the British soldiers in the woods near their fort. When the skirmish was over, Washington and his men retreated to a small fort they had begun to work on named Fort Necessity. Obviously, the French had been provoked, and they could not let the attack on their men go unanswered. The French attacked Washington and his men in July of 1754. Washington's group of soldiers suffered many fatalities, and they were forced to return to Virginia. Their mission had failed. Neither Washington and the British, nor the French, knew it at the time, but these first skirmishes between Washington and his men and the French represented the start of a long war between Britain and France. This war was called the French and Indian War. In the colonies, it was called this because Britain fought against the French and the Native American allies they had formed in the region. It would have seemed to many the British would have the upper hand in this conflict. They had the most powerful military in the world. They had double the number of troops as the French, and they made their own food. The French, on the other hand, had to depend on their Native American allies to help them fight, and they had to get their food imported from Europe. In 1755, the British tried again to capture Fort Duquesne. Before they got there, they were attacked by the French and were soundly defeated. This greatly worried British leaders that the war would not go the way they wanted, so they sent more soldiers to help in the fight in North America. In 1758, the British began winning battles against the French. One really important battle was fought at Quebec. Quebec was the capital of New France, and it was captured by British General James Wolfe in September of 1759. This victory ultimately helped the British win the French and Indian War. The French and Indian War officially ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1763. After this treaty was signed, Britain took over most of New France. This forced the traditional lands of many Native American people to become part of the British Empire.